Paul, I think we've done it. I think we've done it again.
What?
We've only gone live on YouTube.
I can't believe it.
Craziness. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to session number 2 of the Studio Rats Q&A. My name's James Ivey.
I'm Paul Drew.
Also, in the comments, you can let us know if we have any technical problems, if we're in sync, if we're out of sync, if Paul is somewhere back next week or something. Send us over your questions in the comments down there somewhere, and we will do our best to get to them. How's your week been so far, mate? Just catching up, because we haven't much.
Yeah, good. Yeah, really good. Really good. Just been doing lots of work for... I've done a couple of Katana videos, and I've been doing some work for Synchro Arts.
Nice.
So what about yourself?
I have been doing some stuff for Antelope Audio. They've got some new stuff coming. It's Antelope. They've always got some new stuff coming.
Hey, Seffi.
Nice to see you, mate. And then today I've been working for the lovely people at Isotope, which is fun.
It's awesome.
So let's dive in. We had a few people reach out to us over the week, which has been great. Thanks for all your comments, criticisms, critiques,
Greg.
all the niceties that you've been able to pass on to us. This first one is from our mutual friend and Paul Drew looky-like.
It's just like anyone who's a little bit bald looks like me. And have you noticed that every single villain on a film or a TV show is bald?
Can you say, leave it out, Mum?
I don't. Huh?
Can you say, leave it out, Mum?
Leave it out, Mum. Leave it out, Mum.
Okay, this one's in from Greg and is going to kick us off this evening. Loads of people are taking up and expanding their home recording setups during the craziness that is lockdown. Can you offer a budget, mid-level and top shelf version of the basics that you would use if you'd been given a heads up and had to run away with stuff from your studio before lockdown? What laptop, what DAW interface, one microphone only, and one instrument or controller. We'll assume cables and all that sort of stuff is a given. Go. What would your cheap option be, Paul?
Cheap option. Interface twin, UA twin.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's not cheap, is it?
It's not
cheap, is it?
Yeah, it's not the cheapest thing on planet Earth.
Oh, I've got expensive taste. I'm going for UA twin. Because it's got DSP.
Yep.
It sounds great, and it's portable. It's small. Actually, do you know what? I think I'd probably just use that full stop out of all of my options.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go with that. What's the other? Microphone.
Microphone.
Ooh, SM7B.
Right. Controversial choice. Say for me, controversial choices.
It's great. It's a great mic.
Oh, I'm not so sure.
But hey. Hold on. What does Greg say? Paul Drew look-alike, attractive part-time model. What's the other question? Instrument. A guitar. I don't have cheap guitars, unfortunately. I know that sounds a bit snobbish.
It did sound very snobby.
I don't mean it. No, I don't mean that as a snobby thing. I just pick up one of my Telecasters.
Yeah.
And I come back with that. Yeah.
Controller.
Controller. I haven't got one. Actually, you were gonna try and sort me out, but I would probably go for one of those little Native Instruments 25 note controller things, spelt with a K.
Yep. Very, very cool.
Yep.
I think
Go on.
I think starting at the cheap end of things. If it's a question of which laptop, it would have to be a PC laptop, because you can't get a cheap Mac laptop.
I didn't say laptop. Okay.
You didn't say laptop, but I mean, for me, it would have to be a PC. If you are completely averse to using a Windows laptop, get a second-hand Mac.
Yeah.
You can still pick up 2013 Mac laptops, really cheap, really stupidly cheap. And if you're not running a million channels of audio with 50,000 plugins and stuff like that, they're perfectly adequate. I got one at Best Buy a few years ago. In fact, you were with me when I got it, randomly on a on a trip in the States. Picked it up for dirt cheap, and it still is a great little machine. Yes,
that's the thing. But that's the thing about and I know I'm going to get in a whole world of trouble from comments and stuff, but that is the thing about Macs and PCs. I mean, I've still got like a 2011 MacBook that my son's got in his bedroom. It still works.
Yep.
How many 2011 PCs are still going to work?
That is very, very true. But you don't spend back in 2011. That machine was decent money. You could probably pick up a PC laptop new with a reasonable spec for the same sort of money as you'd pick up a second-hand Mac. We are not at this point. We're not dealers. We don't get into that sort of stuff, but it's an option. I think my cheap option would be something like a Focusrite Claret or Scarlett.
Yeah.
Because they are super inexpensive. I'm not using the word cheap because they don't sound cheap. They sound great. They're very flat. There's not many whistles and bells, but they are relatively inexpensive. Inexpensive microphone. You're probably looking at an SM58 or an SM57, to be honest, or a variant thereof. The Sontronic Solo, actually, I think is a way better microphone for the same sort of money as a 58 or a 57. Much more top end, much more, for me, the Solo is how you want a 57 to sound once you've EQ'd it.
Oh, interesting.
It's just a great sounding microphone. Okay, the mid-range sort of stuff.
Can I just chip in because Mike Aiken has just put SM7B truly horrible,
and he's right.
I don't think so. Come on, this is it's probably one of the the biggest recorded microphones.
You're probably right.
It's so. I mean, I've done like sessions where I've been into a hotel room to write a song, record a song, and that song's been released on an SM7. Yes, you have to EQ it.
But you had to work blimmin' hard to get that song to sound like that because I edited the video and you told me you had to.
I love an SM7. I think it's a great sounding mic.
Okay,
I really like it.
So you're going to go interface-wise for the mid-range. You're going to go Twin again,
still going to stick with the I'm going to go with the Apollo.
Mid-range, I would go Apollo Twin as well because
nice.
It's a fantastic platform. For bang for buck, it's a great way forward. There is now Windows drivers for it. The only reason I'm waving the Windows flag is because over there is my Windows machine, and I know people who swear at Windows. It's never given me any grief, and I love it. It works.
Awesome.
And I've got way more power out of that machine down there, or there, wherever the screen is, versus the machine, than I could actually afford, short of buying one of those brand new the Mac Pro 2019 Uber Tower thing for 50 grand. Controllers and guitars and things, they're so personal, aren't they?
Hi, Steve.
Keyboard controllers, there are a million good ones. The Novation ones are great. The Arturia stuff is really nice. I've got a little Arturia synth down here that's great. Where you can get something that doubles up. So, for example, I'm using a little Arturia. What is this thing? It's a Arturia Mini Brute, which is a synth in its own right, but it's also a controller. I'm not one of these people who needs loads of buttons and stuff, and if I do, I've got this thing that I patch in. Just a little launch pad thing, Launchpad Mini by Novation. If I need drums and stuff, but that's a real synth as well. Even something like the Micro Brute, the baby key one, the 25 key one, the synth engine in it sounds awesome. It's that really big, fat, raw, sort of raspy synth sound. So get something that is multi-role, multifunctional.
Yeah.
I think realistically, if you're on the move and you get to a certain point, you probably need a Mac laptop. Because I had a Windows 10 HP laptop. It was basically a portable computer. It wasn't a laptop. Every time you put it in a laptop bag, it took your shoulder off. The thing was like carrying a paving slab around. It was a damn fine machine, and this is going back a few years when I was with Avid. But it is a brick, and a new PC that with the same power as one of the new Mac laptops, be it 2017 or 2019, the 16-inch. Lots of people are going for those now. The equivalent PC is still a fairly weighty beast. Microphones, it's a difficult one, isn't it? You could spend a lot of money. I mean, I think £1,000 on a mic is fairly. I would say middle of the road money. A lot of people will say, "Whoa, that's top end."
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
You and I have both got an Aria, haven't we? Sontronics Aria.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of actually the Vanguard mic. The V13 is a great mic.
Yeah.
And they do a V4 now, which is the FET version, which sounds.
How much are they?
I think the V13, again, not entirely accurate on this, is about 1,200-1,300 quid. I think the V4, which is the baby version, the FET version, not the Valve version, I think is about 900 to 1,000 ish.
Yeah.
Great microphones, really
Yeah.
good. Top end, you're going to say Twinnigan, aren't you?
No, I mean, nah. I think
it depends. It depends at that point when you start spending more money. I think it comes to what you want it to do. If all you want to do is monitor and do a couple of channels, an Apollo Twin is still great for that.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about being at home, so with limited space.
Mm-hmm.
It's a monitor controller as well. It does everything. I mean, yeah. You know, if there's no budget, they all sound great now, don't they?
There's very little stuff that sounds rubbish now.
Yeah.
Build quality is questionable on some stuff. I'm not going to name names because we're live and we could get sued or worse, shut down. There's a few brands that I would steer clear of. People are saying AEA, if you want a ribbon mic, the AEA stuff sounds great. Good, there are so many good ribbon microphones out there now. Check out the Roya R10 if you want what I'm going to refer to, and this is not meant to upset anybody, but a real ribbon by Roya, who, let's face it, only make ribbons. The R10 is an amazing microphone for not that much dough.
Brent is in. By the way, guys, the comments are coming up. We are looking at the comments and we will answer everyone's questions. So, Paul, you're next. Paul Sell, you are next. And Brent, where is everybody else yet? Okay, so
I'd probably go Apollo X4 just to give me the extra oomph.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
At the top end of things, but
Daniel did budget speakers, those Callies. I know that Julian Rogers has been trying out the bigger, the 3-ways.
Yeah,
and he said they're good. He said they're really good.
The other ones you should check out, the budget speaker wise, are the new T series from Adam Audio.
Yeah,
they look and sound really, really nice.
The thing about speakers is that do you find that people are quite passionate about the speakers that they own?
Oh, do you think?
So yeah, so it's whatever you've got. It's like that's the best speakers in the world, isn't it? But
it's also what you're used to.
Yeah.
I mean, plenty of people have said to me, "Why are you still using Focal Twin 6Bs?" There are so many newer speakers that sound better than those. But to be fair,
they sound great.
They sound great. I like them. I've been working on them for ages, and no one said to me, "Your mixes sound rubbish," other than the people who genuinely said my mixes sound rubbish because they did. Yeah, I mean, it's horses for courses. It's in my world, it's throw an even amount of money at a project.
Yeah.
So if you've got, let's say, $2,000, you'll probably want to spend a couple of £100 on each element. So a couple of £100 on the mic, interface, software, bit more on the laptop probably. On the speakers, you can get a damn good pair of speakers for a couple of £100.
Yeah,
I think it was Bob Clearmountain who, probably, arguably one of the best mix engineers on earth. Certainly mixed some of my favourite records.
Yeah.
And he says his go-to speakers were this pair of Apple sort of PC desktop speakers that they discontinued.
The clear ones, weren't they?
No, I don't think it was those ones. The clear ones were made by
the ones that stacked up.
The clear ones were Harden Carden, I think. They had a little sort of domey sub thing. They sounded god awful.
Did they?
No, these were in the Apple champagne colour computer days.
Oh right.
And he said there was a pair of speakers that they made that were basically the speakers that you bought if you had an Apple computer because it gave you a pair of speakers, and they were amazing. And anything he checked on, if he checked it on those and it sounded good on those, it sounded good in the world.
Yeah, but he's
So
great. You know, he can mix on a pair of NS10s. So
he is Bob Clearmountain, and we love
Yes.
him. Oh.
Should we move on?
Yes.
Okay. Paul Sell says, so guys, I have a Boss Katana 50 Mark II. I'm going to buy an expression pedal. Will I be able to use it for volume or just booster, FX mod, etc.? You can use it for everything. You can set it to do whatever you want. Volume. You can use it as a wah-wah pedal. Let me grab my...
As Paul leans down to grab pedal board.
I've got one of those Mission ones. Now, the good thing about these are that they're really sturdy. They actually feel like a Crybaby. You remember the old sort of build quality, the old Crybabies, the really heavy duty
I've got
ones?
one down there.
Have you?
Yep.
Yeah. So it feels like that. Really good quality. Also, with some of the Mission ones, they've got 2 outputs. So what you can do is it's got like a button in there. So as you push down hard, you switch on the other output. So you could use that as a volume normally, and then as you switch in the switch, it would then switch in the wah-wah pedal. So it's a dual function one. Well worth buying.
The effect I always wanted to set up. I can't remember the name of the track.
Yeah.
But there was a Steve Vai album. And again,
Yeah.
I appreciate I'm on your favourite subject now, Paul.
What, Steve Vai?
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Where at the end, basically going into the last, I think it was on Alien Love Secrets. It was the last track on Alien Love Secrets, and there was this lovely octave melody he played, and it started off real full-on distortion, full-on filth, and it went, wah, 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 and it went from super distortion to beautifully clean into that little phrase, and I went, that's got to be some kind of real-time gain controller.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just beautiful. So if you can do things like that on it, where you can control the gain of a distortion box or whatever.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. You could do. Yeah, I guess you could do all that. Paul, I hope that answered your question. Matt writes, so there's going to be an argument between Matt Wright and Mike Ayton, who is Mike's slagging off the SM7, and Matt says that the SM7 is a great mic. I agree, Matt. I think the SM7 is a great mic. I just think it's really versatile. But yes, I do agree with Mikey saying buy good second-hand stuff. For instance, an AKG 414 will smoke an SM7B. Yes, I completely agree. But if I can find it in here,
the best way to make an SM7B sound good is
one of them.
There are about
one
three.
Of them,
there are 3 different versions.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is a FET head, which is basically a. Oh, bless you.
But did you notice how I muted myself in time rather than blowing everyone's eardrums out?
Did you?
I did. Yeah.
I still got it.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
Yeah, FET head, which is basically a phantom powered preamp for a SM7B.
Yeah.
And I personally think it makes it sound better as well.
Roya do one.
Cloud Lifter.
Cloud microphones do one. There's also a Soyuz one now.
Oh yeah.
Which is really
that
good.
Looks nice.
Really, really nice.
Yeah.
I was over in Russia when they were developing that.
Oh, nice.
Very,
you got
very
one?
Cool. No, I haven't. Which is
it.
very upsetting. I haven't got any of their mics. They are beautiful microphones. They let me build one when I was there.
Did they?
Yeah, they let me actually get my hands dirty on the lathes and stuff.
Did they let you keep it?
No.
Oh.
I think the bits that I made probably got recycled.
See, this is interesting. Mike Ayton, I've read further down that question. It says 414 will smoke an SMB, which is horrible unless you shout, unless you've got something like a cloud lifter.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of agree with that, unless you've got a cloud lifter. Top end would have to be the Manly. Now, I don't like the Manly.
Depends which one.
Oh, no, don't you say the gold one.
No, I wasn't going to say I was going to say the Manly reference cardioid is the one I like.
The black and red one.
Yes.
Yeah, I prefer that. I still think it's really bright. And the gold's even brighter as well. So
yeah, there's a new one as well. There's a silvery finished one which did sound. I heard it at NAMM last year, maybe.
Right.
Really, really nice. But I think Manly stuff, and again, Ivana, if you're out there listening, which you're not.
Oh, she loves our live Q&A.
She'd love our live Q&A. We should get her on. I think Manly stuff works really well when it's paired up. So the Manly mic into the Manly Vox box sounds amazing. Yeah. They're doing something that makes it work really nicely all well together, which a buddy of mine actually, he got one of the very first Warm Audio Tone Beast mic pre's, the one you rack.
Yeah, the orange thing.
The orange one.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about that is you can configure it, you can have different op amps, different transformer materials. It's quite a versatile thing. And he went another stage further and actually started swapping out the individual op amps, the actual components on the inside for stuff that is theoretically more audio friendly.
We have reached a new level of geekdom.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's
and it sounded really different when you started, and then he sort of started getting components from different manufacturers and saying, well, can you send me your op amp so it can sound like that? And yeah, he went to a whole nother level of tweaking the gear, I think, at component level, which scares me a little bit. But it sounded really, really cool. But each variation was very, very different. It was very interesting to listen to.
Yeah, excellent. Right, we've got another question. Hold on a sec. I did see, I don't want to miss one. Harish. Hey, Paul, so I finally jumped the gun, sold my code and bought the Katana. Got delivered 4 hours back. Love it. Brilliant. I'm glad you're pleased with that, Harish.
It's funny because the code, I didn't know when we were talking last week about what the code was. It's the Marshall digital amp, isn't it? Mm-hmm. About 3 or 4 of the, I'll say boys, when I do this, the rock school, my band thing.
Yeah.
3 or 4 of the guys have got those. Now, I would say the first thing to do with any of these sort of model-y effects-laden amplifiers is start turning off the effects in the presets. Because they're all a bit heavy-handed, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know why they do that.
It's because they're showing off exactly what it can do. Whereas most people just need a really good, clean, overdriven and filthy guitar sound with a bit of reverb and maybe some delay switchable, maybe some chorus, but not going on in the background, which a lot of kind of random flanger noises do when you're not playing. So all those kind of clever amps, turn off the effects first, get your amp sounding great, and then start applying the effects.
Yeah, definitely.
Steps off soapbox for a moment.
No, I agree. Yeah, half of these, like these modelling type amps, apart from the Kemper, which I know is technically not a modelling amp, but yeah, they all come with the most savage effects. It's just like everything cranked up, and it just sounds like a mess. I completely agree. Yeah, start again. I think that's what's good about the Katana and all the videos that that you can get on the Katana, because you get people that are making videos that are showing how they would do it. And I think most of the videos that I've seen, people just take all the effects off, or most of the effects off.
I quite like, when I did the 11 rack videos a million years ago, it certainly feels like that. Mm-hmm. My approach to creating patches is to go digging on the internet. I'm a Pink Floyd super fan.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there is plenty of documentary footage and evidence, and you go to Pete Cornish's website, for example, you can see a lot of the kind of the schematics and the diagrams and how things were laid out. I sort of went back to that process. Right, what amp was he using? What cab? What guitar?
Yeah.
What are the actual pedal models that he used on so and so and so and so, and started building the patches that way. And it's surprising how close you get. You'd be really surprised how quickly you get a sound that you go, wow, that really does sound like it. It sounds great.
Yeah. Oh, nice one. Should we move on?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, Mike again says, question, when writing songs, do you create the melody which allows flexibility in harmonisation, or do you create the chord sequence first? Good question. I think normally DWB, which is my company that I own with 2 other guys, we do lots of writing for pop bands and stuff, and we actually do quite a lot of songwriting camps. So what happens is we get like a bunch of professional songwriters together. We hire a big studio. James came to one once, and you did some filming there, didn't you?
That was it.
Vislord in Holland, and yeah, we all get together. And normally, if I go to one of those writing camps, I normally prepare a track. So I would normally have a melody in my head that I don't put down, because you don't want to influence the top line writer, who's going to probably come up with something a lot better than me. And I would create a fairly produced track.
Mm-hmm.
So chordally first for me always, and then, but I would have a melody in my head that I would be writing to, but it normally comes out completely different when you get together with a top liner.
I think it depends how I'm writing. For me, if I've had one of those at 3 in the morning moments and got my phone out and done a quick voice note of a lyric or a progression or a kind of a melody idea, I'll sort of take that away. Something I have liked doing recently on a couple of tracks is using found sound. A track I wrote recently. We were in city in Germany, not Frankfurt, Cologne, for an event back in September last year. And I remember walking past this waterfall, and at some point the waterfall sound got in sync with itself, so it went, and then it kind of faded. It got out of sync, but for these like 2 bars, it was really in sync. And I thought that's a really cool little rhythm to put as a kind of a percussion track in the background of a thing. And in there, somehow randomly, in the phone recording, there was this and that then sent me off in this whole other direction for the chords progression that fitted round this little melody that was, it might have been someone's ringtone in the background that I couldn't quite hear or something. Really bizarre. So I think it depends how I start the tune. If I start the tune, sat down with an acoustic guitar or a keyboard, it's all chords first. Then I'll work out a melody that fits around the lyrics that I might be trying to hash together at the time, because lyrics are not a strong suit for me, I have to admit. But yeah, it's normally chords first. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. Next question. Hi, Julian. You go, sup, guys. Hey, and Matt. Hi, Matt. Thanks for the advice last week on using Backblaze to back up, James. Got both my Macs and external hard drives on it now. Worked really well. Did you get commission
You're welcome. I wish I did. Backblaze is brilliant because there's no limitations on file sizes or drive sizes. You just pay for it and you get it. That's why it works.
Nice. Yeah, no, that is. Yeah, I need to do that.
You haven't got to be thinking about, I've only got so many gig on that one and that one's got to go. Just back everything up. It just works.
Okay. So cheers, Matt. Marconix 1. How much better has amp emulation gotten in the plugin world versus an Axe-Fx from 10 years ago? Or is that still way better? Hold on, I need to understand the question. Is the question, Marconix? Can you just reply to this? So, are you saying how much better are plugins now than the original Axe-Fx? Is that what he's asking, James?
I think what he's saying is that 10 years ago, you wouldn't have touched an amp emulation plugin with a barge pole. And bear in mind that 10 years ago, we did have 11 racks and Axe-Fx's and things like that. Whereas now, basically, what are you? I think what he's asking is, what is your take on amp modeling plugins? Because I know things like Studio One, which you're a great exponent of, has the what's it called again? The guitar amp simulation.
I can't remember now. I can have a look. Have a look while you're.
Is that not a dangerous thing to do? Is that not dangerous?
No, I'm not going to load it up. Apparently, we're coming. It's called Empire.
Yeah. But there's a few, aren't there? I remember the first one I used was Line 6 Amp Farm on a TDM system.
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
25 years ago.
Sounded dog awful until you put like what was the delay? Echo Farm.
Echo Farm, yeah. But even pre-Echo Farm, you had to work pretty hard. The one I still use though is I still use the Sounds Amp plugin. I love it.
Do you?
I don't use it for guitars very often.
No.
I use it for vocals quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think I use it if I'm going to put a guitar part really, really far out and want the guitar parts to kind of feel like they kind of do that into a mix. So we filthy, cleaning up nicer into the lead sound right in the middle.
Oh, interesting.
Which is quite it. I mean, you've also got to space them properly and get them. These parts, the far back left and right parts, have got to sound, much further back in the mix. But you can get a very interesting guitar sound from that if you've got that kind of big chug, or sort of chordal pattern, and you can do it with like 4 or 5 different guitar parts, moving them closer to the center and getting a nicer sound as you get closer to the center. It's
nice.
a thing. Give it a try. It worked for me once.
Yes, an XFX 2 actually. Yes, please let me know whether we've moved forward leaps and bounds or not. I've never used an XFX, so I've never tried one. Because you have to buy them direct. I think that might be why
you couldn't get them. There was no loan stock when I was doing a lot of stuff for 11 Rack.
Yeah,
you couldn't borrow one. You had to buy them direct, and the only way to get one was to buy it, and then if you didn't want it, send it back, and he'd refund your money.
Okay.
So you had to bite the bullet early doors and say, "Look, I'm going to buy this thing." And the thing I've always loved about the 11 Rack is the fact that it's easy to use. Whereas the XFX, you had to be a rocket scientist to use it. It's such a complicated beast.
Do you think we should also say that, basically an XFX is a plugin?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a computer. It's a computer that's running software, which is basically what we're doing with if you put a plugin inside your DAW. So it's no different. I think the XFX, I know loads of bands use them live. Do people use them for recording, I wonder?
Yes,
I know that
because you got the whole because you can input like you can a Kemper. There's a impulse response element to it, isn't there now? I think.
Is there?
I think there is. I could be. Oh, maybe it's Kemper I'm thinking of.
No, I don't. I mean, you could be right. You could be right, but I think
the only people I know who use them, though.
Yeah.
The super players, the Petrucci's, the Vais, all those sort of guys who use them don't use them as their primary amplifier emulation. They use them for effects.
Yeah,
they're using them instead of stomp boxes because or rack units because you'd have a million of them. Whereas they're still using their boogies or synergies or PVs or Marshalls or whatever their endorsement deal is for the main amp sound. They're using XFXs as their effects.
Yeah.
Because they're infinitely configurable and they're 2U or 3U, whatever they are, as opposed to a 25U rack of effects.
Yeah, that's fair enough, isn't it? Yeah. I'd really like to try one. I think it's been taken on really well in the metal world. I'm not sure it's taken off anywhere outside of that, but I could be wrong. Metal and prog, that sort of stuff. But I really want to try one out.
I'd like to
move on.
Yep, carry on.
Tara Winklefield, bass, does melody first, but she's jazz educated and gets harmonisation. Yeah,
she's also amazing.
Yeah, yeah, but it's jazz. It's written like that, isn't it? I guess.
I think so. Yeah, I think probably if it's jazz stuff, you're going to go melody first because I think that's what leads your harmonisation and where you want to go. You then get clever underneath, don't you? I mean, I'm doing 1, 4, 5 for the occasional 7 chords. I'm not being super clever because I'm not that good.
Yeah. Daniel Broad, plugin software or hardware, pros, cons, conclusion.
Both, please.
Yeah, both.
When I'm tracking, I want hardware. When I'm mixing, I want software. When I'm tracking, I want to get it right on the way in, and there is nothing as quick as reaching down to tweak a compressor to commit something on the way in. When I'm mixing, I want to be able to recall it, unless I'm doing something for myself, because that's the person I have to please, and then I'll spread it out across the desk and I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Whereas when I'm doing something for a client who is going to come back with a revision, because they just are, that's when I will use plugins. I can still get a better drum sound across the console than I can with plugins. I just can.
Yeah, I agree with you. Quicker as well.
Yeah, much quicker.
Yes, I'm pretty much the same. I've got hardware and software, and I like both. Hardware to track and software because it's just you load up the mix and it's already there.
Yep.
So Andrew Farmer says, did you guys branch off from the Experts channel? Where is Russ?
Russ is in Northern Ireland where he lives. Paul is in downtown Surrey, England, and I'm in bright and sunny, well, quite rainy Greenwich today. I still am part of the Experts team. I still do stuff for Production Expert, as do you, Paul, don't you?
I do. Although I did see, I don't know if Russ is watching, and I meant to mention this to him, but I saw a. Did you see the Facebook post recently with all the photos of all the team? I wasn't included. So
this is a separate project from the experts.
is it?
Yeah, I think this is a separate project from the experts.
This is sorry,
yes, definitely.
I thought you meant that was
This was something that Paul and I and Dan, bass player, started about 18 months ago now.
No, way less than that. Just over a year.
Just over a year ago. And we thought we'd try some live streaming. It seems to be working so far. Thank you, Andrew.
So the reason we did this was because
we could.
Well, but it was originally I got fed up with writing pop songs, doing, like pop productions, and I wanted to use the music that I wanted to produce was more bandy because I'm a pop songwriter. That's my job. And I decided to get James and Dan involved, and then it's sort of gone on from there. So it started off with us just doing songs. You can have a listen to the songs on the YouTube channel. Just go to the songs playlist, and then we started doing reviews and gear and stuff, and it's just sort of gone from there. Yeah.
And this is a new experiment, isn't it? This whole YouTube live thing.
Oh yeah. The YouTube live thing, is new. Second one. Seffi says, would you tend to leave out the bass notes of guitar chords for bass guitar? I love slash chords, but would guitar lines and bass chords fight in the mix? What's your personal choice? That's interesting. No.
There's a joke, isn't there? What's the difference between a guitar player and a bass player? Two strings, an octave, and the word failed. You've always, unless your bass player's playing up here somewhere, you've always got an octave, haven't you? Generally, normally, sometimes two, depending on where you're playing on the neck.
Yeah, but would you leave out your bass note on a guitar chord?
Nah.
See, I think you just filter off.
Yeah, I'd roll off about.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the sound, depending on the tone it was. I think if it was quite distorty and chuggy, I'd probably roll off maybe 250 and below. I'd go quite high.
Wow.
Yeah, it depends. Depends on the part. Depends on if it was all. I'd want to get some definition in that, and let the bass be the bass end of things.
Yeah.
EQ nice. Is your friend there.
Definitely. EQ is definitely your friend. I think you can filter off a lot more of a guitar's bottom end than you probably realise is actually in a mix. A lot more bottom end is filtered out than you think you're hearing. Did that come out right?
Yeah. When you're mastering or when you're mixing or you're mastering your own stuff.
Yeah.
And I know you and I both agree that the best person to do your mastering is not the person that mixed it. It is a mastering engineer because generally they have better ears, better gear, better rooms, etc., etc.
It's a second. No, I mean not even that. A second pair of ears. Mm-hmm. It's and a different room.
Yeah,
a second pair of ears and a different room. But yeah.
Generally, you'd be surprised at what point they roll off the bottom end. If it's a rock or pop song, but with conventional instruments, you'd be surprised at what point the filter is pushing up to. Obviously, R&B and kind of urban music, you want that bottom end and that real subby throb sound, but it's got to be controlled, and there is an art to that. There is an art to control. There's an art to controlling your bottom end, which is a joke that I'm going to avoid at all costs.
Nasty. Andrew Farm, no, hold on. We do bass.
Not
Andrew
coming through
Farm
very
says
loud. Well,
you're not coming through very loud.
I can turn us up a bit.
Turn us up just a smidge. Go on.
I'll turn us up. Bit. We're limited at the Pro Tools end, so I can turn us up a little bit.
Okay. Marconix, yes, and XFX 2, yes. Please let me know whether we really move forward. I think yes. Processing on guitar gear has moved forward leaps and bounds. I mean, you can even just have a look at a Boss Katana, which is a cheap amp that sounds great.
It's inexpensive, but it's not cheap sounding, is it? That's
Definitely
the thing.
Not. It's not
That's
cheap
the
sounding.
thing.
No. It's good. It's a good sounding little thing. Okay. I struggle with low end too. Too much in my mixes. Small home studio, good gear, some treatment, but my mixes always come out bass heavy.
Michael's joined us. Hello,
Michael.
I've known Michael for about a million years. He was Michael from Aphex for a while. Then he was Michael from Boulder Creek Guitars. Then
from
he
what
was
guitars?
Boulder Creek. of which I have
Oh yeah,
a couple up there.
yeah.
Then he was Michael from Tascam.
Ah,
We've known each other for ages.
nice.
Low end, as we've just said, can be the undoing of your mix, and I think the trick is not to try and add too much of it.
I think, and I think there's more of a problem. People find more problems in the 200 to 350 hertz sort of range. But
I do have a secret weapon for this.
do you?
I do.
What's that?
It is an amazing isotope product.
Oh, here we go.
I do have to just go to the website because I haven't forgotten what it's called, but I could very easily forget what it's called. So let me just go to Isotope's website. It is called. Oh, come on. My poor laptop, bless it, is I'm working quite hard, as you can imagine.
Wait,
right now.
it's a plug-in, yeah?
It's a plugin. It is called. See all products. That's what I want to see. It is called Tonal Balance Control.
Ah.
Now, what?
Oh, is it one of their AI ones?
Yes.
Yeah.
But this is more about configuring your mix or your master to a shape, to a set of rules, if you like.
Right.
Now, there are no rules in music production. We all know that. But this is a really good way to start to at least get your mix and your mix tonally into a set of rules, if you like. So, for example, in tonal balance control, you can say, I am mixing dance music, I am mixing rock music, and it will give you basically a pattern for you to make the EQ curve of your track fit. It sounds bizarre. I'll do some videos on it because it's really, really handy. If you basically just want to make sure that you're not driving the bottom end too much for a club system or for a home hi-fi or for TV,
right.
it just gives you a set of rules and a set of parameters that you can work within. It's not processing it for you. There's Ozone and Nectar and various other isotope plugins that will do that for you and will help you do that. And I will show you. We'll do some stuff because it's really, really cool. But tonal balance control basically gives you a target curve, I think is the right phrase. And it's brilliant. It's helped my mixes out no end, but certainly from a low end point of view. If you want to get, you don't want too much super low end. You want it controlled. You want it, what's the word? You want it there, but you don't want it. You don't want a flabby bottom end because that can sound horrible and it just sounds too messy and mushy and yuck. It's very, very cool software. I will do a video on it soon for the channel because it's really cool.
Do you know Mike Hayton's suggested get a Trinoff demo? Yes, completely agree. Or try SonarWorks.
Yep.
Yeah, Sonar. Yeah, and I think first of all, it depends on your budget. SonarWorks is. I mean, I've never used it, but I know people that get great results out of it.
Yep.
Or if you've got lots of money, get a Trinoff.
Trinoff is good. I think if you're, say, I know Michael's rig. He's got some great toys.
Is he?
And
he can get a Trinoff then.
Well, a Trinoff is a great solution, but I don't think he needs it. He's got his room is treated. He's got great speakers and it's good gear. I think some assistance in making it right because the tonal balance control doesn't care about your room. This is a set of rules that are, you might go, there's not enough bass in this, but yet you're seeing it hit the target curve.
Yeah.
And then you go, then you burn it. You know, in the old days, you burnt it onto a CD. You took it out to the car and went, "Whoa, how much bass did I put on this?"
Yeah.
Or in this case, you'd go, "Oh, that's better. It sounds great." That way, you trust the software as much as you should trust a piece of software, and then you can go, right. Well, it's working. Tonal balance control, it's great, very, very cool.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I hope that helps. Okay, next question. Baroque ALP. Hey, yesterday I asked a question, but you couldn't understand. First, sorry for my English, not a problem at all. I've got a Katana 50.
Sorry for hours.
Yes, sorry for ours, wherever you're from. Also got a pedal board. Set a lead tone on the Katana, but when I press delay pedal on my pedal board, sound is so bad, delayed. I know what you're doing. I know what the problem is. You know there is no send. Right. Okay. That's the problem, because you're running your delay into the front of your amplifier. So what happens is your guitar goes into the amp, goes into the delay. Your guitar is basically getting repeated, and it's going into the preamp circuit and into the drive and into the tone stack and all that sort of stuff, and it's just building up and building up. Some people really like that sound, and you can get a really good sound from it. Personally, I don't, and it's always better to put your delay in the loop, in the effects loop. But you haven't got an effects loop on the Katana 50. So do you know what I would do? And you're probably not going to like this, but might be worthwhile selling the 50 and just getting the 100. Just paying a little bit extra, just sell your second hand and maybe get the 50, the 100. Sorry, I think it's if you want to run your delay like that, you're gonna have to run it like that. The only other way of doing it is to run your whole pedal board into the delay and then go into the Katana. I guess that could actually.
But if you're using the Katana for tone, as in for distortion tones,
but then you don't use it for tones.
Yeah, it's just
then you don't use it for distortion. You only use it as a clean.
It's got to be a clean
platform.
out. Yeah,
yeah. It's really hard when that happens. And,
it's one of the problems I had with the Chandler. As brilliant a amp as the Chandler is, it doesn't play nice with pedals. It hasn't got a loop. And again, one of the reasons I bought the Rev, the D20, is because it has got an effects loop.
Yeah. No, I agree, and it's really bad. It's really hard when you buy something and then you go, oh damn, I should have got the next one up, or I should have bought that, or I should have bought that. I've done it a million times. You
change gear a lot.
Yeah, I do change gear a lot. And then when I find something that I really like, I'll just keep it. But yes, I do. Yeah, I do tend to waste quite a lot of money on updating gear. I hope that helps. There is no real other solution. The only other thing you can do is just use the delay inside the Katana, unless you're really fixed on using your delay that you've got as a pedal board. Okay, should we move on?
Yep.
Hi chaps, Katana question. In your opinion, which is better for tone feel, to have master volume higher or raising the channel volume or keeping the master lower? And this is quite a common Katana question. Apparently Boss say to have your master volume up full or as high as you can, and then use the volume back. To be honest, I haven't noticed that much of a difference. So
I would say from a, it's only it's not a valve amp, is it? It's a power amp. It's a transistor amp.
It is a transistor amp, yeah.
Yeah. So you're not going to gain
anything.
You're not going to gain anything tonally from driving it harder or lesser.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would say if you've got everything kind of balanced, your master volume is just that. It's your master volume. If someone says the guitar is too loud at this gig, turn your master volume down. You're not going to go through each patch and turn each patch down. You're just going to go turn the master down.
I couldn't agree more. And it is, it doesn't make that much of a difference, I don't feel. But Boss seemed to think that it does. And now I don't know if that was because at some point people were complaining about the sound of it. I don't know. But I don't think it makes that much of a difference. So I tend to use the master volume as a master volume as an actual volume control. Please tell. Oh no, yeah.
I think we've already given that game away.
Mike says Trinov or Trisona works. Yep. Okay. Have you noticed Luna slowing down your Mac? I have an i7 Mini with maxed out memory, and Luna runs like a dog on it. Interesting.
Update your version of Luna.
Yeah.
The first thing to do, because they have been bringing out new versions. I found that one of the betas that I had kept filling up my hard drive, as in it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger till I restarted, and all of a sudden I had 25 gig left on my drive, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I had 25 gig left on my drive. It was bizarre.
Wow, okay.
It's a very new piece of software. They're going to have, I think they're beyond teething troubles now. I think that they're on full-on tantrums that they're having. As more people adopt it, as more people take it on, they're going to find more problems. That's a statement of fact.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's still brilliant. I love it.
Sounds great. Yeah. I haven't noticed it. I mean, I've got I don't know what's the iMac Pro. Do you know what process is in that? I don't know.
I thought you could have spent anything from about 12 grand upwards to do on that thing, couldn't you?
No.
A full spec one was about 12 grand.
No. I meant processor wise. Not.
Oh, I don't know what it came with.
Not price. Yeah. I mean, I haven't noticed it, but I've got quite a spec'd up iMac Pro, so.
My laptop hasn't had any major problems. It does run. It does make it run.
What have you got? What's that on there?
It's just a 2017. It was the top spec 2017 at the time, so I think.
So it should be in comparison with the i7 Mini
this Mac. It's an i7. I know that. Oh, please don't fall over. There we go.
So it's probably the same, and you've been running it fine, yeah?
3.1 gig Intel i7, 16 gig RAM. Yeah, it's been fine. It's not.
That's interesting.
It's not spluttered or given me any cause for concern.
Andrew, I wonder if it's worth you putting in a request to UA support.
Yep, and make sure it's up to date. Obviously, every time you install or you run Luna, it gives you you can see what updates there are. I think it automatically says there's an update. For at least a little while, keep doing those updates.
Yeah, definitely. Aaron Einstein says the FX floorboard is a free download that lets you arrange all the effects in the Katana. Yes, and that's in comments are directed at Baroque's problem with delay. Yes. Is that a Mac? Can you get the? Do
you mean an iOS thing, or do you mean a?
Yeah. I don't. No. It's software, but I don't know if it's just PC only or if it's Mac. It's called FX Floorboard, and you can change around all the effects. But yes, apparently that's supposed to be really useful, and that would cure up one of my bugbears about it. But I haven't used it, and I don't know if it's Mac or Windows or whatever.
It's Boss. I would have thought.
No. It's made by a third party.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Baroque, except selling the 50, there's no solution. My wife bought us a birthday gift. Well, it's a lovely birthday gift.
You have an amazing wife. Buy you guitar.
Nice one, mate.
Well done.
Yeah, definitely. I think enjoy your Katana 50. Just use it in a slightly different way. Don't use it with your delay pedal. Use it with
the inbuilt effects.
Delays built in. Yeah, James.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Right. Jack Duxbury sent a question in.
He did.
He says. Here we go.
Jack has been on the podcast with us. We did a video podcast, didn't we?
Jack is one of my favourite keyboard players of all time. He's such a talented and a great bloke. Have you had the chance to try the Captor X from 2 Notes perchance? If you have not, have you tried any of the other stuff? And if so, how does it compare with the UA Oxbox? Sending all my love.
We like the Ox, don't we? We do like the Ox.
Yeah, the Ox is wicked. I've got a 2 Notes Torpedo Studio.
I know you have, because I sold it to you.
Yeah. Well, we sort of did a sort of swap, didn't we?
Yes.
Swapping a bit of cash.
Yeah.
Yes, that's really good. It sounds great. Funny enough, Jack, after your comment today, I got in contact with 2 Notes and negotiating them sending me one for review, the Captor X, which I think is going to be wicked because it's like this little box, about so big, and basically you can take it out live. It's got effects built in. I think it's got reverb built in and a delay of such, and it's a load box and a reamp box, a load box and a direct box as well. So it sounds wicked. Hopefully they're going to send me one and I can try that out, so I'll let you know, and you can pop over and try it as well if we're not in lockdown anymore,
as and when we're allowed. As and when we're allowed to actually see each other in real life.
Okay, so FX Floorboard is Android and PC. Oh, and yes, Mac too. Awesome. I'll try that out then. That'll be good. And I need to make some more videos like that, so yeah, I'll do that. I'll download that and check it out. Cool. Love Jack on the podcast. Awesome bloke, so honest. Yeah, Jack is wicked. If you haven't seen that we did it live. Yeah, we did it as a video, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. If you haven't seen that podcast, we did it in the YouTube feed. And Jack is like a touring musician who plays with everyone.
He doesn't pull any punches, does he?
No, he doesn't. So Jack was James Bay's keyboard player for a while. He's played with everyone. And Jack's like wicked bloke. and
We should get him on a song.
great player.
We should get him on a Rats project soon.
Yeah, you should hear him sing.
Yeah?
Oh, mate, he's just ridiculously talented bloke. Yes. Yeah. So if you haven't seen that, go and have a look at that YouTube podcasty thing we did. It's really good.
Right, where are we up to on these?
I think we've done everything.
Wow. Have we really we've done everything? Blimey.
Yeah, anyone else got any questions? How many people we got
20
that suffered us for
20 in at the time.
20 in at the moment.
That's not bad. Thank you to everyone who watched this after the live broadcast last week.
Oh, yeah. Cheers, guys. Yeah. But join us. We're trying to do this every Wednesday, aren't we?
Yes. Yeah, we're trying to make it a regular thing, as regular as two people can do. Eventually, at some point, I suspect we'll have a holiday when we're allowed.
Nah.
Do you not think we're ever going to have a holiday again?
Nah, I think it's over now, mate. Done. It's all done.
Boo.
Yeah, it's rubbish, isn't it? Hopefully, yeah. God, I really need a holiday this year.
Could do with a beer as well. In a pub.
A beer?
Beer in a pub.
Oh, pubs. yeah. For anyone that's not English, I don't know if you understand how passionate us English blokes are about pubs.
We do like a pint in a pub beer garden. Oh.
Oh.
With the condensation dripping down the outside of the glass.
Okay, Sephi says, but Capture X is only 8 ohms, right? What do you think about the Tone King Iron Man? Right, yes, I didn't realise it's only 8 ohms. That's fine with me. Most of my amps are switchable, or I've got outputs, 8 ohm outputs. I think there's only one that hasn't. Anyway,
just talk about that just for a second, Paul, because it's caught me out with, series and parallel speakers, 4x12s, 2x12s, single 10s, whatever.
Yeah.
What difference, WHAT rather than WATT, what versus what?
Okay.
What difference does it?
Yeah.
What does that all mean? What does it being 8 ohms or 16 ohms or 4 ohms actually mean?
It's resistance, isn't it? It's resistance of the speakers. So
yeah, I know. I'm setting you up for a question.
I see. Okay, so you could probably answer it better than me then. Well, yeah. So if you've got well, it depends on your speaker. So speakers come in different ratings.
They do.
And also, if you've got two 16 ohm speakers, becomes
it's
8
it's something to do with series and parallel, isn't it?
Oh, mate, I'm a guitar player. I don't.
It's to do with series and parallel, and if you have a single 8 ohm speaker, and your amp is rated at 8 ohms, that is what I would call a perfect match. Yeah. If you have two 4 ohms,
impedance, not resistance.
Yes, it's
right.
impedance.
Mike is right. Sorry, yes.
And yet they're still both rated in ohms, which is a measurement of resistance.
But it is still resistance, though,
it is still resistance. Yeah.
I mean, basically, if you don't plug, if you turn on a valve amp
with
and
no
you play
load
through it, and with no load on it, it's going to blow it.
It's going to do it no good because it becomes you have zero impedance. You've got no load on it, and that's what it is. It's making sure that the amp and the cabinet or the speaker are loaded perfectly together.
Right. Should we talk about impedance and impedance?
No,
because
okay. That's something else entirely that we are not qualified to talk about. It's really important that there are various sites that have calculators for series and parallel 4x12 cabinets, 2x12 cabinets, and the cabinet will normally say on the back whether it is an 8 ohm series or 16 ohm parallel or something like that on the back.
I've never seen series or parallel.
It depends how they're wired. It depends how they're wired, because a 4x12 might be wired in a square, or it might be wired 2 and 2.
Oh, okay. So you can have a stereo. You can have a stereo cab.
No, not even stereo. You know how all the speakers in a 4x12 sound different.
Yeah, but that's not because they all sound. That's because of the tolerances of the speakers.
It is, but it's also because of where they are in the chain. Because the resistance of it's cumulative.
Right.
and again, depending on how they're wired. So,
Right.
for example, I picked up recently, and I think I said this on either the video, the Q&A last week, or on a previous podcast. I picked up a Marshall JCM 900 recently
Yeah.
for like next to no money, the 2x12 combo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was the amp I always wanted when I was 17. Is that just an awesome sounding amplifier?
Yeah.
But it had GT75s in, which I absolutely loathe as a Celestion speaker. And I found a pair of second-hand vintage 30s. Now, instantly, but I think they were 16 ohm. In fact, they were 16 ohm. But 16 ohm and again, someone will point me at the right place. But I remember checking out with various amp servicing places that I was able to do this. I even phoned you and said, am I legit in doing this? Two 16 ohms in series makes an 8 ohm load, and it's an 8 ohm amp. Therefore, you're safe.
Yeah.
Two 8s in series or parallel makes a 4 ohm load, which is driving the amp harder, but you can get a better tone. Get down to 2 ohms or below, and you are in trouble. It's why you can't just keep adding 4x12s and 4x12s and 4x12s off the end of a Marshall. It will only take 2 4x12s, which is why people have an A and a B cab and a head, and another A and a B cab and another head, even though they're probably only using the first head for the tone, and they're just feeding it through to get the power from the other ones. If, of course, they are in the real world and actually using all of the speakers. They're probably not. They're probably dummies. But hey.
Oh, there, you heard it there. I didn't realise all that.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I just normally look at the back of the cabinet and it says 16 ohms, and you change it to 16 ohms at the back of the amp. Bosh.
Yes, series. That's right. Thanks, Mike. Series add parallel reciprocal. That's right. Yeah, add them together in series. Yeah, that's right. That's it. Thank you. I was right.
My pay grade.
I was right then.
Above my pay grade.
Yeah, and that's right. Zeffy says Vox AC30 is series 2. It's down to 2 ohms with 8 ohm speakers, which gives you a 16 ohm load, which is why AC30s are so incredibly fragile.
Ah, is that why?
Yeah, they drive an AC30 on full tilt is driving the valves and driving the amp circuit really, really hard, which is why you have to revalve them every 25 minutes.
Yeah, or the Morgan Morgan do an AC20 and an AC40.
Mm-hmm.
I know the AC20s are. You buy one of them, you're just constantly revalving it. As awesome as it sounds, I guess that must be why.
That's why. There you go. Do you feel educated?
Well, they are.
Do you feel educated now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I can. I mean, I'm going to sleep well tonight, mate.
Really? Blimey. Should we pull up stumps?
Yeah.
I think
that.
We've done well. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
This will be available on our YouTube channel for your future delectation. If you want to listen to me waffle on about impedance and ohms and stuff and how wrong I probably am on that. I know I'm somewhere ballpark close. We will be back next week with another one. If you've liked it, come back and tell your mates. If you haven't liked it, keep stum, because then no one will hear you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to find out how exactly I log off this thing again, because I've kind of lost
Cheers,
the stream.
Mike. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see everyone next week if we can.
Yep, and take care, everyone. Stay safe, and all that sort of stuff. So from me, James Ivey,
and Paul Drew.
We'll see you again soon.